Good morning, and welcome to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Joel Ibanez, and I am your worship associate today. I'm joined by Reverend Sian Wiltshire, our minister. Jacob Swetland, our director of music ministries, is out today, but we are lucky enough to have our music led by Amy Tompkins, Susan Shaw, and the Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Choir. We also have our director of, Danielle Lewis, our director of religious education and children and youth, and we all welcome you this morning. Whether you've been here 30 years or 3, 10 months or 10 minutes, and whether you strolled, rolled, zoomed, ran, or danced in, we are glad to have you join us today. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you're seeking a spiritual home, we hope you will find it here. We are a community of many different identities and beliefs. We are bound together not by dogmas, creeds, or fears, but rather a covenant to create a welcoming, inclusive, and loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. In the spirit of building this community, let's recognize the many volunteers that have helped to put our service together today. Thank you. To our roomers, we invite you to silence your cell phones if you could. And for our Zoomers, we invite you to say hello in the chat. As we worship today, let us acknowledge that our church property rests on the sacred, ancestral homelands of the Hachiman and Tongva peoples, who seek justice and responsibility towards stewardship. We begin our worship with the lighting of the chalice. And this morning, I'd like to invite Jacques Kilcher up to light the chalice for us. Jacques is a 24-year member of the Unitarian Universalist Church. He has his wife, Elizabeth, and 2 kids, and is very active in the religious education program that we have here. He just finished a new leadership program and loves Lego. Loves building Lego. What can you say? So, with that, as he goes ahead and lights the chalice, let us all say our unison affirmation together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another, this we affirm together.
And Joel says I'm the first to get to use this new plasma lighter. Very fancy.
Yes. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing our opening song.
Your vow, giving This morning, I want to begin by honoring the ancestors of this church, those who first lit the flame of liberal religion here in Orange County. They sparked a vision of what this community could become, raising money, various buildings, crafting bylaws and policies in long committee meetings. They prepared potlucks with love and always, always lots of cake. They painted walls, pulled weeds, hammered nails, washed dishes. They came together to worship and to learn, to grieve and to celebrate, to serve their community, to work for justice, to kindle a light in dark times, and to let it shine. We are the keepers of that light now. A light passed down hand to hand, heart to heart, generation to generation. It is the light of community, of courage, and of shared purpose. A light that brightens not only this space, but the world beyond our walls. What a gift, what a legacy that they have left us. And so today, we turn with gratitude to those who carry that legacy forward, those who tend the flame with their time, their talents, their heart to keep this community strong, alive with purpose. May this light inspire our own as together we help this beloved community shine.
Thank Carrie for her leadership this morning. We appreciate her very much.
Planted in this holy ground together, growing into freedom side by side, and we can shine like the stars that made you. You can soar, you can stumble, this circle will hold you. Young and old, we come here seeking shelter, to heal our hearts, to make a better world, to give ourselves permission to be human. When we know we are enough, our hearts are lifted up, and we can shine like the stars that made you. You can soar, you can stumble, this circle will hold you. Shine like the stars that made you. Love is at the center of this circle that holds you, and you can shine. All our many roots, they've reached for water. All of our many branches reach for light. We're planted in this holy ground together, growing into freedom side by side, and we can shine like the
So speaking of stars that are shining, so normally during our Time for All Ages, we have a special story we tell for the children. But today, instead, we have the joy and honor of commissioning 11 members of our congregation as leaders who are going to shine like stars. So what does that all mean? It means that these individuals have completed a program called Harvest the Power. It's a Unitarian Universalist Leadership Development course. So this is Sherry and Nancy over here. They're two of the facilitators. Reverend Judy Tomlinson was not able to be here today. She's preaching up in Anaheim, but she was also part of that wonderful team. And Kathleen was a part of it, but is also our board president. I'd like to invite her up here as well. All right.
In our Unitarian Universalist faith, many discover that growing commitment to their spiritual journey leads naturally to the call to serve, to step into leadership roles within our beloved community. Harvest the Power, developed by the Unitarian Universalist Association, was offered here at Orange Coast to help individuals deepen their skills, expand their confidence, and grow spiritually as leaders. This program nurtures leaders who not only serve with dedication, but also lead from a place of integrity, reflection, and deep connection to our values.
These members of our congregation answered the invitation to Harvest the Power as a way of exploring their own calling to leadership among us, for us, and with us. Under the thoughtful guidance of Reverend Judy Tomlinson, Sherry and I served as co-facilitators and learning partners throughout the program. As I read each name, I invite you to come forward as we recognize and commission you. Valerie Armstrong is actually on Zoom, I believe. She lives in Pennsylvania. Elizabeth Kilshuer, Jacques Kilshuer. Randy Kokel is at the men's weekend. Brianna Malone, Kathleen McFarland, Jamie Pendarvis, Judith Stamper, Amy Tompkins, and Meg Wilson. Oh, Eric Noel, I missed there. Eric is also up at men's weekend.
It's my honor. It is my honor to commission you all as leaders of this congregation. Some of you have served for years, others are newer to leadership. All of you have shown a deep willingness to grow and to serve, and for that, we are truly grateful. Leadership is a spiritual community, and in a spiritual community is sacred work. It's a form of ministry. It's shared and it's mutual. Though we live through it, we live out our covenant, we honor the worth and dignity of every person, and labor together for a more just and compassionate world. Thank you for offering your wisdom, your energy, your time, and your heart to this community.
You got words? Oh.
Okay, here we go. We welcome your commitment and ability as you share in the leadership of our congregation as we look to the future of our congregation's many possibilities and challenges for spiritual and faith development and growth. We appreciate your decision to serve among us. We entrust you with the responsibility it involves and promise to support you as you help us grow.
I want to invite all of the participants. So Kathleen, who's the president of our Board of Trustees, she also was a participant in this. So I'd like to invite all of you Harvest graduates to give us your pledge.
Without reading it first.
As new leaders, we are honored by the trust and responsibility you have placed in us. We pledge ourselves to the values of this congregation, to foster relationships of depth and integrity, to serve with open hearts, and to walk beside you on the path of shared leadership and beloved community.
And congregation, affirm their pledge with these words.
We, the members of Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church, affirm the commitment you have made. We thank you for your courage, your energy, and your willingness to lead. We pledge our support and partnership as together we bring our values to life and shape the future of this congregation. We welcome you into the shared ministry with gratitude and joy.
Right on. All right. Well, these leaders are a living expression of our church's shared ministry, helping us to carry into the future all of us with vision, strength, and love. So let's celebrate their dedication and welcome them fully into their leadership roles. You all now may be seated, and I'd like to invite Danielle Lewis up here to light the children's lamps, and then we'll sing our children out to their religious education classes.
We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go.
Well, leadership. It's a big word that I think a lot of people find fairly intimidating. I know I did. There was a point in my life I thought I would never, ever be in a leadership position again. You see, years ago, I took my first sort of real leadership position. You know, it's when I worked in Australia for a staffing company called Aquent, specialized in creative professionals like graphic designers and that kind of thing. This was in the middle of the 1990s at a time when the boom, right, the dot-com boom of multimedia and the web, and Seattle was at the heart of that community where I worked. So I was right in the middle of it. And my colleague Susan and I got so involved and so knowledgeable that the company gave us the opportunity to actually start a new division of the company around all of this. So it was like, it was a really heady time. We were all learning. It was exciting. And I got to speak at all these things. It was a lot of fun. And because of all of that, I got promoted to lead our new office in Australia. We had bought a company in Melbourne, and I was to go down there, get them set up for how we were doing things, and then I was going to open an office in Sydney. And I would have full responsibility, right? Profit and loss, the hiring and firing of staff, growing the business. I was so excited, right? I was all energized, and I was completely unprepared. Okay. I remember the President John, who was like 2 years older than I was like 29 at the time. He handed me a book on accounting and said, I'm going to test you on this. I aced that test, thank you very much. But that was the beginning and end of my training. Okay. I thought, this will be fun. You know, I was enthusiastic. I was organized. I could handle this. Because, you know, one of the things I turned to, one of the greatest sources, I thought, okay, I need to understand leadership more. I'm going to turn to one of the greatest resources that I know for learning things. Books, right? You all know about books. These are the books that I turned to. Remember Stephen Covey? This was big. Stephen Covey was big at this time. And I read all the books, and I took even classes. I remember taking some workshops in Australia on leadership because I wanted to understand. I thought there was like some sort of formula that you did, some steps that you took that somehow made you a leader, right? And they said good things. They said empower others, lead with vision, motivate your team. I'm like, okay, but how do you do that, right? What does it actually look like maybe when someone on your team is crying in your office because you made a flippant joke? Or when you're working 12-hour days and you still feel like you're failing? On top of this, my boss kept giving me all these weird mixed messages. She was a nice lady, but man, she would sort of say, oh yeah, you're doing great, but then she'd give me all these long lists of damage. You need to do this. And I'd be like, I am doing those things. And she was like, great, okay, now you need to do this, and this, and I'm still doing those things. Okay. So it was so strange to me. I felt constantly on the edge, like I was gonna be fired. I was convinced all the time that I was wrong. And the irony was, I found out after we did a reorg and I got a new boss, that I was setting company records and they gave me a $10,000 raise. And I was like, woohoo! But by then I was so burnt out, I was so stressed out that I decided to step back from leadership, and I left that job. And I told myself, never again will I be in a leadership position. Little advice from me to you, don't ever say never to the universe, okay? Yeah. So years later, I find myself in seminary and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to face all of these insecurities. I'm gonna have to face all of this stuff because I do know that a minister is a leader, but I didn't have any specific training in seminary. They don't teach you how to run a staff or put together a budget, but something deeper happened there. Seminary asked me to confront my fears, asked me to define what leadership really meant. And I came to understand that leadership is not primarily about authority, it's really about power. Authority is the right to make decisions. I put this up here. So authority is the right to make decisions. Power is the ability to influence those decisions. You can have one without the other. But true healthy leadership is about using the power you do have and using it well. Seminary didn't teach me accounting, right? I got that from John. It didn't teach me how to run a board meeting. It didn't teach me how to manage staff. It didn't teach me, but it taught me something so much more essential. It taught me to be self-aware, how to understand power and not to abuse it, how to not lead with just authority, but with presence. Authority is, again, being given the right to decide. Power is the ability to influence others. Let me tell you a little story, actually. I'm going to talk about good leadership here. I'm sorry, I'm going to embarrass you, Nancy. This was years ago. It was like a long time ago. I can't remember, like my second year here. I've been here for almost 12 years. And somewhere in my second year, we were doing something as a congregation. I don't even remember what it was, but it was an annual meeting, and we were making a big decision. And at that time, Nancy did not hold any board position at all. And I remember her coming up to me because she kind of disagreed with something that we were going to do. And she said to me, I don't think I'm going to speak at the annual meeting about this. I realize I have a lot of power and I want people to make a decision for themselves. And I was like, wow, that is healthy leadership. To know that you have the ability to change people's minds, to influence them, and to not abuse it. Well done. So you might know that I have authority over worship, but I don't have authority over our finances. The board has that authority. But you can believe I have power to influence those decisions, right? And I try, this is one of the reasons why I'm not on the finance council. I don't join the finance council. Last thing they need me to do is butting in on that. The thing is, we all have power, right, to some extent or others, whether we sit on the board, whether we're welcoming people on Sunday morning at the welcome table, or whether we serve as parents or caregivers, activists or teachers, friends or helpers. We influence people and the spaces around us. That leadership is how we choose to use that power in healthy or unhealthy ways. So I want to show you this neat little graphic here. This is what I found when I Googled the word leadership, right? Things like guidance and vision and goals and communication, motivation. These are all really nice words, but they don't tell you the difference between a good leader and a bad leader, a healthy or an unhealthy one, right? Because guess what? These guys had all of these skills, right? Hitler had a vision. It was an evil vision. Stalin was a strong communicator, right? And so were these guys, right? He was an amazing communicator, gentle, kind, compassionate, not a verbose speaker like Martin Luther King. What distinguishes healthy leadership is not the presence of these skills per se, it's how they're used. A healthy leader leads with integrity, right? Honesty and compassion. They use their power not to dominate, but to build relationships. They know they have power, and they use it thoughtfully and carefully. I remember in seminary, there was a guy in my leadership class in my last year, and he was like, oh, I'm not that powerful, I'm not, anything. And I remember the teacher laid into him, if you do not recognize the power you have, you are going to cause harm. She was right. Friends, our country needs healthy leaders. Our counties, our cities, and even our congregations. People need us, and it's going to take everyone being leaders in some shape or form. You don't have to have P&L responsibility, okay? We're going to build this beloved community to offer more programming, connect people through small groups, deepen our mission. We need people to lead. We need you to lead, even if that word leadership makes you uncomfortable. Maybe especially if that word makes you uncomfortable. Because that's where growth happens. Self-awareness, healthy leadership. And there's lots of fears and myths and monsters that come up around leadership. And I was right there with you, but I've learned that it's also amazing. But here's some of the fears that we have, right? I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. That was me, right? I got to get my books out and read all about it. I'm a leader kind of person. I'm not a natural leader. That's what I felt. I don't want to be in charge. Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm too busy, too tired, too overwhelmed. Not leading yourself, if that's the case. Does that sound familiar? Because here's the truth. You don't have to know everything. That's why we share. This is shared ministry, right? You don't have to be perfect. You can stumble, and this congregation, this circle will hold you. And you definitely don't have to lead the way someone else does. Leadership is not a solo act. It's an art, and it's practiced in community. And like any form, you have to practice it to get better at it. Trying and failing and learning and growing, and just to know that you're not alone. There are famous historical figures, but don't let, by the way, historical figures intimidate you. They're just illustrations. But for example, there are different types of leaders in the world, right? So the one that we all know of is the autocratic leadership, right? Now, this is what most people think of when they think of leadership. This is what I thought I had to be when I was in Australia. Like, okay, so I just tell people what to do, is that it? Right? But healthy, this can be totally healthy. We tend to think of it as an unhealthy form, but it can be perfectly healthy in the right situation. Think of General Eisenhower during World War II. He had hard decisions with little room for debate, right? Sometimes leadership requires that kind of decisiveness. But even then, Eisenhower is going to listen to his advisors. He was not a tyrant. He was a servant of something larger than himself. Here's another type of leadership. Look at Mother Teresa, Rosa Parks. Mother Teresa, she didn't hold official power, really, but her deep compassion, her willingness to serve, made her one of the most influential moral voices of the 20th century. And of course, you've got prophetic leadership. And by prophetic, by the way, we're not talking about you're predicting the future, okay? Right? We're talking about speaking out about injustices. Of course, one of the great is the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was one of the reasons why I almost didn't enter seminary, because I was so intimidated. He was the only minister I kind of like knew as an example. And I'm like, I can't be him. Of course I can't be him. I have to find my own style, my own way of being. But King, he spoke truth to power. He called out injustice, even if he was a prophet, but he didn't act alone. He surrounded himself with community, right? The Southern Christian Leadership Conference and all sorts of things, with mentors and with allies. You think about democratic leadership. Actually, I always think of Nancy when I think about democratic leadership. She's always like, well, we need to bring this to the board. We need to ask people about this. I'm always like, can we ask for permission, for forgiveness instead of permission? But she's always calling me back. No, we got to go to the board. Okay. So if you think of someone like even Eleanor Roosevelt, right, who wielded power through influence and careful coalition building. She worked behind the scenes, lifting up voices that others ignored. And you think about, this is the other kind of leader that most people think about, is like that visionary leader, right? The one who's like innovative and is going to change the world, like Steve Jobs, right? A man who could see the future that others couldn't. But so was Florence Nightingale, who revolutionized public health, by the way, who was a universalist. She revolutionized public health systems in the 1800s through sheer persistence and innovation. Leadership doesn't have one face or one style. It's as diverse as humanity itself. And in this congregation, we need all types. I want to tell you a little story. So yesterday I was at the luncheon with the Harvest the Power graduates. They had a nice little ceremony, and every person got up to say, how they were transformed and what it meant to them. And one of the exercises that they did is that people had written down on a piece of paper how they experienced the other person, right? So at the end of it, everybody had a sheet of paper with words on it, and it was kind of fun, like you had to guess who they were talking about. And of course, when they mention joking, everybody goes, Jacques, you know it's Jacques. But what I thought was really fascinating is they did this for the facilitators as well, Nancy and Sherry. And Nancy's words that people gave her were confident, kind, listening, organized, those types of words, right? She's a former CFO. Okay, and then you had Sherry Lushan, who is a world-famous therapist, and she was described as calm, compassionate, loving presence. These are both incredible leaders in the world, and they have very different styles, and neither is wrong. They're both being authentic to who they are in the way that they lead, right? We need all types of leaders. So I want to invite you into just a time of just quiet reflection here for a minute, a little meditation, and you can take a couple of deep breaths and maybe plant your feet firmly on the ground if they're not there. Take some deep breaths, soften or close your eyes as you wish. And I want to invite you to think of a leader that you've known in your past, or maybe it's your president, a boss, a teacher, a parent, someone who worked with that you would describe as a bad leader. I know where your mind's going. What made them bad in your experience? What made them bad leaders or really unhealthy leaders? Now I want you to bring to mind a good leader, a healthy leader that you've known. Maybe someone who lifted you up, made you feel valued. What was it about them that made them a good leader, a healthy leader? And finally, think about yourself. What kind of leader are you? You don't need a title or a pulpit. You have power and you carry light. What kind of leader are you? If you feel those fears coming up, gently nudge them aside. And when you're ready, I invite you to join the choir in singing.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
It's important to remember those people who were both healthy and unhealthy leaders, because that's often the best way to learn about how you want to be as a leader. Our best things don't come from classrooms, they come from experience and being around people. Remember that I told you I started in Seattle, right, developing multimedia and web creatives? I then had this amazing boss named Anne. And she encouraged me to take that job in Australia. She let me spread my wings into the field of multimedia. And she said, you know, go for it. She listened to my ideas. She believed in me. And she was my model of who I wanted to be. I just thought there was a formula on how you got there. My best lessons come from watching people who led not by commanding, but by inviting, not by forcing, but by trusting. Seminary didn't teach me how to manage a budget, but it taught me how to manage myself, to stay calm in a storm, to know when something was mine to carry and when it wasn't, or as I like to say, where my shit begins and ends. It taught me how to be a non-anxious presence, to say thank you, to lead with love. And maybe that's what healthy leadership really is. It's the practice of love with power. The practice of love with power. And there are all kinds of leaders, right? The prophetic leaders, the servant leaders, the democratic leaders, visionary leaders. And there's our Harvest the Power graduates who are willing to learn and grow and develop who they are as leaders. All of these leaders, they share one thing, a sense of purpose larger than themselves. They don't live alone. They share their power, they shine their light, and they help others shine theirs. Those graduates commissioned today, like, you know, they know that leadership can sometimes seem scary or overwhelming, but they also know this, that we're not alone. They know that we'll get trained, that we'll be supportive, we'll be encouraged and loved along the way. And when you stumble or make a mistake, the circle will hold you like the stars that made you so you can shine. And your leadership will matter. It will make a difference, not just to this congregation, the lives of the people who walk through our doors looking for belonging, for hope, for purpose. Because leadership isn't about being in charge. It's about helping something or someone grow. It's about helping something or someone grow. And that's what we're growing here, this community of justice and joy, of spirit and service. It's worthy of your love, your care, and yes, your leadership. So, my beloved community, let us lead with love. You're teaching children, caring for elders, chairing a committee, welcoming strangers on Sunday morning. You are leading, and your presence matters. Your light matters. So let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let us sing. Please rise in body or spirit and join Amy in the choir.
Let's have fun with this one. You all know this one. Get up and shake your booty. Come on, let's go.
That's right. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I
Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all funds for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of the church. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OCUUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing half of this plate that we receive each week with an organization that shares our values. This month, we're partnering with Share Ourselves, which is a healthcare organization here in Orange County that strives to provide quality healthcare for people who are having trouble accessing financial assistance and food distribution. So this organization is actually centered near my work down in Santa Ana, but they're actually going to be opening a branch right here across from us. They're going to be our new neighbors, so good for them as far as that goes. We definitely look forward to working with them. There are multiple ways in which you can support the church and this organization. You can mail a check. You can go through our website, or you can use an app called Vanco Mobile. If you're a roomer, you can also simply use the basket as it's passed around. The choice is yours. All the information is on our website should you need it. And as always, thank you for your generosity.
I'm dreaming wide awake. This is the life I make. Don't need a holiday to make me feel this way. Listen up, take a chance. You can sing, you can dance, you can live like there's no tomorrow. Give it time and you'll find there's a rule, there's a rhyme, live along, and the rest will follow. I want you to know. Oh yeah, we shine like stars. Oh yeah, we shine like stars. Like stars. Like stars. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? It seems we still want more. It seems we still want more. No one can take away. No one can take away the dreams we have today. You can go with the flow, don't you see, don't you know? There's a light, let it burn inside you. You can shout, let it out, not a care, not a doubt. This is it, let the moment guide you. I want you to know. Oh yeah, we shine like stars. Oh yeah, we shine like stars. Like stars.
speaking of leaders, I'd like to invite Nina Smith up here. She's going to talk about continuing our culture of generosity here as we all lead in pledge.
So, my family, we've been members here for about 8 years, and when we first walked through those doors, Kate was just 3 years old. And it makes me so happy that she is here growing up UU. Janine, my wife, and I, we came here initially for the kids, for our kids. We thought it was important for them to give them some sort of spiritual foundation. But over the years, we actually stayed because of me. If you know me, you know I love this church. I love this church so much. It's given me really close friendships. I've found community with all of you, and it really has brought a lot of meaning to my life. Before OCUUC, giving back and serving others, it really wasn't something that I was doing, at least not in any sort of intentional way as an adult. Church really changed that. Being here has given me a way to serve, to give back, to be a leader, and to be part of something bigger than myself. And that feels really good. It brings me happiness, and it also brings me a lot of purpose. A recent example of this happened just last weekend. Reverend Sean, she organized a group of us to go to the Hands Off rally in Santa Ana. And a decade ago, it would never have occurred to me that showing up and just being present with a sign and a voice could be such a powerful act of faith and solidarity. But here I am doing exactly that, because this community has helped me see that justice and love requires action. So how does this relate to the pledge drive? Well, I grew up in a religious tradition where tithing was expected. My parents, they gave 10% of what they earned, and as a teenager, I was expected to do the same. So when we joined here, I understood that being part of a church means supporting it financially. Nobody had to take me aside and say, if you're a member, you should give money. And on the other hand, Janine, she didn't grow up in a household where they supported a church. I mean, she went to church, she was Catholic, and so in those early years, when pledge time would come around, it was always a bit of a negotiation in our family. So we've worked out a system, and I give quietly, so she's never fully aware of what we're giving. She said, "Don't say that. That's going to make me sound really bad." Anyway, money is one of the ways that I express my love for this place. I remember a few years ago, Craig Preston, he was up here and he gave a testimonial, and he talked about the members at Victoria down the street, the earlier church, that 20 or 30 years ago, those members, they were giving then so that we could actually be here today. And so I want this church to be here for Kate and for her family 20 or 30 years from now. So I'm going to give today, so it will be here for tomorrow. Every dollar we give comes back to us tenfold in love, in connection, and in purpose. So if you believe in something, it's okay to encourage others to believe in it too. I'm in sales, and so here's my ask. If you haven't made a pledge, if you haven't done it, we really need everyone to do it. Give what you can. It's super, super important. This is how we operate for the full year. So do it for yourself and do it for those who will walk through those doors tomorrow looking for what we've all already found here today. Thank you.
Slide. Please join in singing We Gather Together, a song that puts into words our commitment to each other and our gratitude for the many gifts that we share. We gather together, we gather as one, for peace, love, and justice for everyone. We give from our hearts to show that we care. We can change lives with what we share.
I'm just so touched by what Nina had to say. That was really cool. You don't know what impact people have until they get up here and say something. So it's really, thank you. Okay, so well, now is that time when we honor important events and wonderful, amazing stars in our lives. And you're invited, one and all, whether you're a member, friend, or visitor, to participate in this ritual that we call Joys and Sorrows, and of course, Roomers and Zoomers. So this is Birdie Reed. She's one of our beloved longtime congregants and a member of our pastoral care team members. Now, before I go further, I want you to know that we're trying an experiment. If you notice that the table gets rather messy because we have these candles that people light with, right? So I discovered this nifty thing where you can get these things. Let me see, how does it, there we go. So they're like, you press the thing up and then there's a button for you to press, and then I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a little spark. You can hear it maybe. Yeah. And that we're going to use these to light our candles today. Don't worry if it takes you a little bit to figure it out. It's okay. Remember, this circle will hold you. Okay? So, you are invited, if you would like to honor profound joy or sorrow, you're welcome to come forward to light a candle in that. If you would like to share that with the congregation, you can write it on a slip of paper, which the ushers can give you if you haven't already written something out. If not, simply just hand it to me and I'll read those out loud. And of course, Zoomers, you can write it in the chat. Just so you know, I'm never actually looking at Facebook when I look at this. I'm chatting with the people on Zoom. So Zoomers, you can put it in the chat and then Birdie will light a candle for you. So please come forward, try out the new toy, and see how this works. All right. Was that fun? New toy? There were some people who were like, I don't know about that. Well, it's an experiment. All right, so I'm going to read the ones here that have had candles lit already. Let's see here. So Amelia, and she said, happy to reach the Beatles' birthday age of 64. You're sincerely wasting away. Yeah, she made me sing this on here. Yeah. So if you didn't notice, these beautiful flowers are here in honor of her birthday from her husband, Aaron. And Sandy did this amazing job with an oboe. If you didn't know, Amelia plays the oboe beautifully. I'm going to put that on there. That's kind of really cool. So. And let's see, Shirley T., she lit a candle of joy, she said, for her stepson, John, who visited from Israel for a week. Nice. That is nice. Right on. And Simone B., she lit a candle of joy. She said, the Britishers are here. This time my grandson, 7, was telling his friends, I'm going to California, they're going to the beach today. So, welcome the Britishers. That's what it says. All right, Elizabeth K. and her family, they lit a candle of joy. Elizabeth says, I am so proud of our son, Joel, for taking public transportation to LA by himself to join the Stop the Oligarchy protest yesterday. These are the amazing kids that we raise here. He was like this high when I first met him. Yeah, he was. She says, how cool to be part of history in the making. Absolutely. Let's see, and Tom L., he lit a candle of joy and appreciation for all the folks who have helped make our pledge drive happen, and particularly the folks who have spoken to us. Yes, thank you, everybody. It's not easy. I'm used to getting up here and talking. Not everybody can. All right, let's see here. Francie C., she lit a candle of joy. She lit 2. Here we go. So one is her daughter, Sabrina, did a presentation at the 50th Oncology Nurses Society Conference on Clinical Studies for Breast Cancer Research this weekend. Congratulations, Sabrina. And she says, I'm going to the PSW SA, that's the Pacific Southwest Service Area for Camp de Benneville Pines Assembly. I know that's a mouthful. In San Diego, which is coming up 2 weekends from now. She said if anyone else is going, she would love to know. And I do know that there are some people going. So let me come see me, Francie. I'll put you in touch with them. All right. Donald M., he said he lit a candle of joy because he got his income taxes nearly done. He says, I'm done with expanding Sandy's vocabulary for the year. And Brianna Malone, she lit a candle of joy and hope. She says, because my kiddo Finn gently influenced me to make a change. He asked me not to use the artificial intelligence app on my phone because of the fresh water that is required to cool the servers for each question asked. I did not know that. Okay. I might have to cut down on my use of it. Okay. All right, so Bertie, if you could light some candles, one for Craig P. online. He said he would like a candle of joy lit for the leaders of the past that invested in OCUUC, the new leaders empowered today, and our bright future as together we build it. Amen, Craig. Yeah. And then Linda C., she says, please light a candle of joy in celebration of the expectation of 2 new great-grandchildren, grandbabies, in the next few days. Sisters. I must mean twins. Woohoo, love twins, you know I'm one. Okay. She says, sisters expecting on maybe the same day. Oh, the mothers or sisters. Okay, I'm getting it, cluing in. Okay, there we go. That would be awesome. She has like a bunch of great grandchildren. She's amazing. Let's see here. And then Phyllis D., She says, a candle of gratitude for those who welcome new leaders and encourage them to develop their gifts and service. This is from a woman who has dedicated her life in the generations down the line for leadership in the UUA. So that means a lot. Awesome. All right, let us hold in love all the joys and celebrations, all the hurts and sadness, both spoken and silent. Let our joys remind us to be thankful, our concerns remind us to hope, and our sorrow remind us to connect. Let all these moments remind us that we are not alone. I invite you to join Bertie in a spirit of prayer.
A prayer for everyday leaders. Spirit of life, move in us and among us. As we seek to lead with wisdom and compassion, may we remember leadership is not about having all the answers, but about showing up with courage and care. It is found not only in great speeches, but in small acts of kindness, quiet persistence, and the choice to love anyway. May we trust the light within us, even when it flickers. And may we recognize the light in others, especially those who lead in unseen ways. Help us listen more deeply, risk more bravely, and lead not for our own glory, but for the good of all. May our leadership be rooted in justice, guided by humility, and sustained by love. Amen and blessed be.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Let us join together as we extinguish the flame of our chalice, and we say together, extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Again, thank you for joining us this morning. If you are a guest, a visitor, or someone who hasn't yet been known to us, I invite you to become a part of this beloved community. If you'd like to know more about this church, we invite you to either stop by the welcome table here in the courtyard after the service, or contact us at hello@ocuuc.org, and we will help you get connected. Zoomers are welcome to stay after and join in the chat and come online, and we want everyone to feel a part of this beloved community. So please, reach out, and we will help you get connected.
And speaking of ways to get connected, a couple of things I want to let you know. So next Sunday is what we call Flower Communion. It's also Easter and it's Earth Day, so we're going to have a lot of fun bringing all of that together. So if you've never been to, so this is a quintessential Unitarian Universalist tradition. It's called Flower Communion, and it was created by this Czechoslovakian who wanted to create a more welcoming way to do a communion. And the idea is that everybody brings a flower, or more than one if you want, and we put them together and we create an incredibly beautiful bouquet, usually actually about a dozen bouquets. And it's to celebrate the diversity of everyone here. So bring a flower or two, and don't worry if you forget. You can pick one from your garden, you can do on the side of the road, or you can do like me and go to Trader Joe's. So it's all good, whatever works for you. And Zoomers, what I want to invite you to do is to either have a plant or a flower there that you can do it, because we'll be blessing all of them, or you can put like a little background, right, that has like flowers and things like that, so it'd be nice and colorful. So, all right. We have our Passover Seder is being run by Maureen, so that's next Saturday as well. I want to also let you know, if you notice that you see that we have the spring auction up there, and where it says "We Are Family," you don't actually say it that way. It's not "We Are Family," it's "We Are Family," right? Okay, so this is a disco theme, people, okay? And there's going to be even a costume contest, so get out your blue eyeshadow, okay? Bell bottoms, right? And Jolynn is going to be teaching us how to do, okay? Yeehaw. All right. So the dinner's going to be potluck, so bring a dish or a $10 ticket. It's your choice. We do have, by the way, you'll all be happy who've done auctions before, that we are going to have new software. Yeah, their last software was not good. But you need to register online to bid or to donate an auction item. But don't worry, the auction committee is going to train you, right? We're going to do our best to train you on how to register. Come to the Victoria Room after the service. The Victoria Room is in the center of this building right next door to us here, and they'll teach you about how to do it. So you can also ask any questions at the auction table on the patio. But and if also you have a fun, creative idea to do this, I was thinking of teaming up with someone to offer like a sip and paint and fun stuff like that. So we're all coming together doing all sorts of fun things. It is such a fun night. So come on out and partay, because we are family. Okay. Those are our announcements for today. I just want to remind you to shine like the stars that made you. Let us sing our recessional song.
Let us go out and all do our part. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out and all do our part. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out with joy.
This service is over. Let our service continue.